Good afternoon. Today's the 22nd of October, and I'm back in my lady wife's 2014 MG3 1.5 style, and it's a good time as any to talk about what exactly we might replace this car with when we sell it in a few months' time. So I did a video a few months ago on this particular car in terms of what we might replace it with, and we've come to a decision that we are going to go ahead with that. It's not because there's anything wrong with this car, far from it. It's actually been very good to us, and would I recommend one of these cars to anyone? Absolutely, yes. We've had ours for just under 3 years and around 28,000 miles. It'll probably be about 30,000 miles when the 30th of November comes, which is the day I bought the car in 2016. The issue really is that we've had this car a while. I chose it myself. We weren't even engaged at the time, my lady wife and I. And we just fancy a change. She fancies something that I think isn't so firm on suspension, and there's a little bit more of a sort of classic feel to it. So we're going to look at various options. There are, I think, about 3 main options that we've considered. And I don't know what exactly we will choose. I don't know exactly when we will be replacing the car. It's still yet to be decided. We've still got about £2,500 to pay off on the finance for this. I'm not sure whether we're going to borrow the money to do that from another source, or whether we're just going to pay it off as a lump sum. That's still open to debate. But yes, we've looked over a couple of options, and I'll just go over now what exactly those are. One of the options we're looking at is a Rover 75. Now, this is the sort of car that I very much like. The things that we would be looking for would be a car that is after mid-2003, when all 1.8 and 1.8 turbo 75s were fitted with Euro 4 compliant engines, which means that you can drive into the London congestion charge zone. Sorry, not the congestion charge zone, the ultra emission zone. I should know that, having made so many videos on that on my channel. And you don't have to pay the £12.50 a day or whatever it is for not having a Euro 4 compliant petrol car. Obviously, diesels and V6s are pretty much out of the question for us. It has to be a car that has parking sensors, cruise control. I'd like a dark blue or a dark green one. And obviously I'd like a car with as few owners as possible and well under 100,000 miles. Now, you can pick a car up like that if you can find one. There are not too many that have that specification. I don't really want a post-facelift car, so it would have to be between mid-2003 and mid-2004. You can pick one up for about £2,000. £2,000 is our budget to replace this car. It will be an outright cash purchase. It won't be financed again on this particular occasion. The other thing that Rover 75s actually, suffer from is actually the subframes, where the aluminium comes into contact with steel. There tends to be corrosion in that respect, and sometimes that can mean that the cars aren't going to be able to repair for any problems. Obviously, if we want to buy a 75, and Mr. Coleman, rubbish mechanic, will be coming and looking at it for us, because yes, that's what he does, and he's very much said that that's the only way that he's going to allow me to buy one of those. So there we go. The next car we would be looking at would be a Volvo S60. First generation cars were made between about 2000 and 2010. I would prefer the post-facelift car, which is from about 2004. They tend to look a little bit better to me, but I would consider probably a very nice pre-facelift one. These tend to be a little bit cheaper than 75s. There doesn't seem to be as much classic demand for them. And Euro 4 engines are available in those too, from, I'd say, 2002, 2003 onwards. You can get them with parking sensors and cruise control, which are absolute musts for me. The only thing about the S60, I mean, obviously we're not considering any diesels. There's a 2.4 and a 2-litre turbo engine. Those are the ones that we're considering. If you buy one of those with an automatic, they tend to be quite heavy on fuel. So that's sort of something I'll be looking at. I found a very nice burgundy one, which had a nice beige leather interior, which is the sort of thing I like. That has obviously gone because we need to pay the finance on this car off first before we move on anything, and that might not be for a few months. Yes, the Volvo S60 to me looks pretty nice. The third car that we'd be looking at would be a Vauxhall Astra twin top, a Mark V or an Astra H. Those came into production about 2005, and I think the last ones were 2010. Now, there are a few of these around, but with cruise control and parking sensors, I found a couple. One had a leather interior, one didn't. They tend to be in kind of sort of silver or black or blue. The twin top has a good capacity in the boot, actually. If you have the roof up, if you've got the roof down, it does hamper that somewhat, but it's not too dissimilar from our current MG3, actually. If you have the roof down in terms of the boot side, it's a bit of a different shape. Those obviously have the vast stretch engineering, so they're not the most exciting things to drive. The rear legroom is actually pretty good for a car that's only got 2 doors. And my wife is potentially quite excited about the fact of having a convertible with a folding metal roof. Obviously, you'd want one that has a full service history, one that has record of a cam belt change, because we'd be looking at probably a 1.8. Those tend to be the most common engines, actually. The ones I've found so far are manuals. I would consider an automatic, but the manual's probably a better gearbox than the 1.8 automatics. They also did diesels. Obviously, we're not looking at those. There are 2-litre turbos too. There aren't so common, actually. The most common ones seem to be the 1.8s. There is also a 1.6 that I would consider, but 1.8 is probably the sweet spot. And yes, there's not too much to worry about those. They're quite reliable cars. Obviously, there might be some things up with them, but yeah, they're not particularly expensive. One that we're looking at, for our sort of requirements, would be under £2,000. I think all of them pretty much have a Euro 4 compliant engine, particularly the ones made after 2006, which would be my preference. So hope you found that video to be of interest. Please don't forget to subscribe for more videos to come from the channel. Don't forget to leave a comment and like this video. My website is www.lloydvehicleconsulting.co.uk, and I've got a Facebook page too. It's facebook.com/Lloyd Vehicle Consulting. Thank you ever so much indeed for watching.